Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen, let's talk Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, yes, we have had a test screening. Test screening took place and my eyes and ears in Hollywood have passed on some information. So I'm going to relay it to you guys and we're going to just take a look at kind of the premise, I guess, of this movie and the general thoughts and feelings that came from those in attendance to the screening. It's called Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. It's out relatively soon-ish. Stars Jenna Ortega, Winona Ryder, of course. Look, it's not massively great news. It's not out-and-out horrendous either. I tweeted about this before I chose to make this video. So, side note, if you want an insight on all the scoops, then following me on Twitter is the right idea at Mistakes Reviews. You can find it linked down below because I like to tweet stuff out. Sometimes it's not enough to make a video, but I hear a lot that's going on in the industry, so I tweet about it instead. So let's get down to it, shall we? Let's get down to all of the... It's not a lot of stuff. I'm not going to reveal a lot of stuff. There's no major spoilers here, but it's kind of like the bare bones premise and what key characters are doing what, and the key plot, and then, like I said, the general vibe from the audience. So, first things first, it's a little bit too long, the movie, from my sources anyway. It's a little bit too long. It needs an editor to come in and chop it down, but this is the point of these test screenings, is the hope that they will change stuff, right? It's a little bit forgettable, lacks the charm of the original, which all of these types of sequels, legacy sequels, they generally always do. So that's not a massive surprise because you're always going to compare it to the original. Always. So it's not as memorable. It's not as charming. Kind of forgettable. But generally it was fun aside from some long sequences. There's some fantastic practical effects work. Especially in the waiting room to go down to the underworld. There was some absolutely mind-blowing practical effects in that entire sequence. It's very, very specifically a surfer that may have been chomped in half by a shark. But anyway, let's get down to a little bit more information, shall we, ladies and gents? So basically the film begins with, the film is about, generally speaking, Astrid, which is Jenna Ortega's character, the daughter, of course, of Lydia Dietz, who is Winona Ryder's character. So Winona Ryder plays Lydia Dietz, an older version of herself. She's interestingly become a little bit of an exploitative character. She's played off as not massively great by comparison because she's basically taken her connection to the afterlife and exploited it to become a very cheesy paranormal reality show host, which is a bit shit. But look, it is what it is. That has actually caused a great deal of strain between Lydia and Astrid, so between the mother and daughter. But anyway, basically, Lydia and Astrid, they have to return to Winter River, Connecticut, for the funeral of Lydia's father, the late Charles Dietz. Soon after arriving in this very small town, Astrid meets and essentially instantly falls in love with a mysterious boy played by Arthur Conti. He himself has connections to the supernatural, and Astrid finds herself journeying into the underworld with no means of escape. So the story is Lydia has to find a way to get Astrid back out of the underworld, and then of course turns to Beetlejuice. They're still linked by a marriage contract, which of course we know that, and because she turns to Beetlejuice just in the nick of time, Monica Bellucci's character who plays Beetlejuice's previous wife begins to reconstruct herself in the underworld. It actually makes for a really, really interesting sequence. She sews her dismembered body back together, which is quite fun. And then she begins hunting for Beetlejuice. So it's kind of this you know, multitude of hunters hunting for different people. Monica Bellucci's hunting for Beetlejuice. Lydia and Beetlejuice is hunting for Astrid. That's essentially the story. It's funny. The story is funny. The film is funny, but it is a bit messy, and could, you know, it could really do with some trimming down overall of the film, which makes a lot of sense. You know, this is an early cut. They still got plenty of time to edit it down. This will be one of the test screenings, so they will probably edit some stuff down, which makes some sense. Interestingly, Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis characters from the original, slight spoiler, well, essentially the fate of them is just explained away super quickly. They found some kind of loophole in their Afterlife contract that allowed them to cross over. So they've crossed over. Yay for them, I guess. Willem Dafoe, though, interestingly, he plays a really cool character. So he has a very brief role, funnily enough, as a former Hollywood action star killed in a stunt gone wrong. And he now works as a law enforcement officer for the undead. So good to see Willem Dafoe, you know, sort of, I guess, a cameo appearance. It's a good bit of fun, really. But overall, look, the film itself, a bit messy, a bit choppy, a bit forgettable. But it's, I guess this is the definition of a popcorn flick. You know, these legacy sequels, they never hold true to the original. They never hold a flame to the original, unfortunately. They're never as good as the original. And that's not necessarily their fault either. But, you know, all in all, it's said to be fine. Worth the trip, at the very least. And I would assume, you know, knowing, because this is Warner Brothers, knowing Warner Brothers, they will edit this down a little bit, hopefully. Because when they've got a film that they like, they do tend to edit it down. I know loads of people will reference like The Flash and things like that. Yeah, that's very valid criticism. But this type of film, I think they want this to do relatively well. So I think they will probably take this back and give it, you know, another once over in the edit bay. So expect some things to be chopped down. There is a pretty interesting musical number in this as well. And I'm not really going to reveal anything else. That's kind of it. I'm not willing to reveal too much else. But there you go. Test screening took place. There's the general thoughts and feedback from the test screening. It wasn't massively disliked. It just wasn't. Again, the problem with these legacy sequels are they're always compared to the original, and they'll never hold a candle to the original. So I guess go into it with that as an expectation. But there you go. I mean, there's not much else really to say, to be honest. I'm keen to see it at the very least. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Give the video a like and a share. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.